In Lesson 11, we introduced the first declension, and in this lesson, we will introduce the second declension. Recall that first declension nouns are typically feminine. Second declension nouns, on the other hand, are typically masculine or neuter. Here is an example of a masculine noun with second declension endings, logos. In Lesson 11, we learned that the first declension endings on a feminine noun are nearly identical to the feminine articles. Here you can see that the second declension endings on a masculine noun are nearly identical to the masculine articles. Note, however, that the nominative singular ending does not match the article. Now that we have seen a masculine noun, let's take a look at a neuter noun, ergon. Just as the second declension endings on a masculine noun match the masculine articles, the second declension endings on a neuter noun match the neuter articles. Note, however, that the nominative and accusative singular forms do not match the article. Now, when we learned the articles, I pointed out that the neuter forms are identical in both the nominative and accusative singular and the nominative and accusative plural. Note that the same is true for second declension endings on a neuter noun. When we learned the articles, I also pointed out that the masculine and neuter articles are identical in the genitive and dative. Again, the same is true for the second declension endings. Alright, well in Lesson 11, we concluded with this chart summarizing the first declension endings. We can now add this chart summarizing the second declension endings. I will also add the articles which you have already memorized so you can see the similarities. Once again, the first declension endings on a feminine noun are almost identical to the feminine articles. The second declension endings on a masculine noun are almost identical to the masculine articles. And finally, the second declension endings on a neuter noun are almost identical to the neuter articles. Alright, well now it's time for some practice. Remember that when we parse a noun, we need to identify the case, gender, and number. Our first example is huios. First, you should recognize that this is a form of the masculine noun huios, which means son. Now take a look at the ending. As you see in the chart, this is the accusative plural ending. So we parse this word accusative masculine plural, or AMP. Our next word is theou. First, you should recognize that this is a form of the masculine noun theos, which means God. Now take a look at the ending. As you see in the chart, this is the genitive singular ending. So our final answer is genitive masculine singular. Next is kosmon. This is a form of the masculine noun kosmos, which means world. Now take a look at the ending. As you can see in the chart, the omicron nu ending occurs twice. However, remember that kosmos is a masculine noun. Therefore, the omicron nu ending must be accusative singular, not nominative singular. So our parsing is accusative masculine singular. Our final example is tekna. This is a form of the neuter noun teknon, which means child. Now take a look at the ending. As you can see in the chart, there are two possibilities, nominative plural or accusative plural. So we list both, nominative neuter plural and accusative neuter plural. If we encountered this word in the New Testament, we would have to rely on the context to determine if the word is nominative or accusative. Alright, well that completes this lesson. Now it's time for the important part, mastering the content for yourself by taking the quiz.